Today, I go over the user interface and how to change the theme. Also, I create a little bit of modern art. Not this one, this is a different one. But anyway, stay tuned. Hey everyone, this is Kevin with Inventorbark back with another video. And today I'm just going to be going over some simple basics of the screen and the windows and how to change things around and stuff like that. And so for most of you, I don't know if you know how to move the windows or anything like that, but I'll show you how here. For the windows, like the main ones, like these ones, you can drag and resize them, and you can actually close them all the way. When you close them all the way, you get a little plus sign here that you can click, and it opens it back up. And so I'll go ahead and close those back up, and I think I went over this before, but T and N are the two letters that open those up. And for each window, if you look at each window, it has this little diagonal lines on it. You can click that and drag it in, and it splits the window wherever it's at into two different windows. So you can create all these different windows however you want. You can split it all these different ways. And it gets kind of confusing when you do that, because this is like a big one and these are little ones. But you can close these windows. You have to, like if it's the one in the right hand corner, if you want to close it to the right, you have to close it or click on that and then drag it to the next one. Actually, that one's not going to close to the right. This one's have to go close down, so you have to close, or no, close up. See, it even confuses me still. But anyway, so there's a way you have to drag it to get it to close. So I just made a new one on accident there. And there. So this one's not wanting to close. Okay, so that one you have to close that way. Okay, so the bottom left-hand corner, you close it that way. Top right, you close it that way. And that's how those move. And if you want to, and you can click and drag from there. I just now noticed the little one on the bottom left-hand corner. I didn't know about that one before. So I actually just learned something too. But anyway, so each window, if you look, they all have a little window that you can pop up that shows different things. This one here is the timeline that shows the animation window. Most for 3D modeling, you really won't need that at all. But for animations and other things like that, and like for me, like my intro videos and stuff like that, I use that all the time. And here you can change different things to different views. You can actually have two different views at the same time, and there's actually a way you can use it in quad mode. So if you, let's go ahead and close this one and go back to the main window. There's actually an option to use the view in quad mode, kind of like 3D Studio Max or things like that. And I'm trying to find it here. Oh, toggle quad view. So this has quad view. It has the top, the front, the right, and user perspective. You can, I'm not sure if you can change these. Okay, so when you do use the keys, it changes it just the one screen. This one down here is changing because the cursor's in there. So I think, yeah, okay. When you press 9, it changes that specific window that the cursor's in. From the, like this one should change it from top to bottom. And so this is the main one. You can't move these rounds around at all, but you can move the main object there. And as far as I know, you can't resize that at all. But I actually never used the quad view simply because for me, I like being able to work on the object in 3D mode all the time. That's why when I used 3D Studio Max, I had a hard time getting used to it and thought it was a little bit overcomplicated than what it really needed to be. That's why I kind of stuck with Blender, and that's why I'm still using it. Because I like it, and it's, for me, after using it for so long, you get used to it, and it's almost second nature. And so you can actually even close like this window here. You can close that down. This one I don't know if you can close it or not. Let me try. Nope, I just made it bigger. See, I even find this kind of frustrating with the windows. I wish they'd make a way so you can right click on it and close a window, because right now it's a little bit strange to work with. And you can also like change different modes up here. Like this is the 3D full view mode, and this basically just shows the object. And there's animation settings. There's compositing. This is for like if you want to make pictures or movies, you can use nodes to do all kinds of cool stuff with it. There's a default view, which is the most common one that most people use. And Blender actually has its own built-in game engine. I used this for a little bit, but it was just a little bit more involved than I wanted to get into. There's also motion tracking, which is really cool. You can like take a film piece of footage and put objects into the scene that match up with lighting and everything. It's pretty cool. And there's scripting. Java uses Blender uses not Java, but it uses Python for its programming. It's programmed in Python, and anything you want to do with it's in Python. And there's actually the UV editing mode it's mostly for gaming and texture mapping, things like that. And then there's also video editing, where you can edit videos and things like that. And the video shows up here that you're working on, and you add videos down here. But the main one that we're going to be focusing on for a little while at least is going to be the default mode. And here I'm just going to go over each one of these little settings. It's the rendered view. It just shows what it looks like with lights and everything like that. For 3D modeling, probably never use that. Same with this one. It's a material, a texture. The solid one's the most common one that you probably use all the time, as well as wireframe. And then there's bounding box. I don't think I've ever used that. These I don't really know what this box does. I've never used it. It probably does cool stuff that I just don't know about. Same with the different editing modes. There's texture paint, weight paints for gaming stuff, vertex paints, texture mapping, and things like that. And for 3D modeling, something that you actually can use is the sculpture mode. This is pretty cool because you can actually sculpt things. And you can just make the object and do pretty good sculpting and just make different objects. You can, if you want to make it, instead of have a rigid model that's a 3D model, you can sculpt things. You just click and move it around, and it makes it expand. It's like working with clay, basically. Or you press Control and it makes it go in. So Control. If you kind of want to have a more fluid 3D print, you can sculpt it however you want. You can create random modern art pieces like this. But that's just another mode that you can use. That was all started off as a square, and you can create and manipulate things really fast with that. And this is just for different scenes. Like you can set up a whole scene. This for like more gaming or animation and things like that. But object mode's the one that you want to stay in most of the time. And this is different layers. You can create different layers to do different things. Like if you have one object, like say we want to save that one and we want to make a copy of it, press Control D, makes a copy of it. And we just want to leave it where it's at, but we press M while it's highlighted, and a layer will pop up, and it'll move to that one. So then we can take the object that's just still here, because we have the same object on both of these layers, so we can mess with this layer and make it bigger, and if we want we can move this one back to the first layer. So now there's nothing on the second layer, and so they're both on this first layer. So when you have an intricate model with more than one part, you can actually move the model's pieces to a different layer or something like that. And there's also the hide option. Like say we just want to leave this on this same thing and we want to not see this because it's getting in the way of what we're trying to look at. We want to hide this, then we just select that with a right click and then press H and it hides it. It basically click on the eye, takes it away. And if you do that to a whole bunch of different objects in the scene and they're all hidden, you can press Alt H and they all appear back. It changes it back. And if you have a whole bunch of different objects, let me add a couple more. So circle, a meatball. These are pretty cool, like little blobs that you can. Also another way you can kind of sculpt, but they're a little bit trickier. But anyway, so we just want to work on this little one here. We press Shift H and it hides everything but that object. And to get everything back, press Alt H and they'll appear. But it selects everything when it gets back, so you have to go back to the object you're wanting to work on. That's just another example of that. And also, on a previous video I did, the new Blender, the 2.77, it changed a little bit. Before you used to be able to go to File, Export, STL, and you were able to export it and without any problems, and if you just had that one object selected. Now they have an option down here where you have to do the selection only to click on that to make sure that that's the object you want to have exported, that you want to print out. So it's that selection only, and then you can export it. So I just have this as an untitled thing that I could print out if I wanted. And for the most part, that's just going over a couple more basic things about it. And you can import objects with STL. Like say that one I just put out there, we could import it, and so bring it in there. And you can edit it and then re-export it. But that's basically import, export. There's all different types of files you can use too. You can actually add more if you go to user preferences and go to import, export. And there's a whole bunch of different types of files that you can work with. Some of them, if you have 3D models and other programs that you use, and it more than likely will have it here. If not, you can probably get an add-on to install it. And if you click on System, you can select the different options for the views, and you can actually change colors. Like you can change the entire color of the whole screen, and it just makes it, depending on what you like, is if it's more viewable, or there's quite a few different options. I've actually never changed mine from the default. And so I'm not sure where's the default is. Anyway, this is what Blender used to look like in 2.4 apparently. But I don't know how to change it back. I didn't save the settings, so I should be able to close it. And I'm not going to save that and just open it back up. There we go. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have for today, and then I'll keep posting videos once a week or more if I can. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day.